Despacito, cards are flying high. Shuffle up and deal, let the aces lie. Longest running show, yeah, we've seen it all. From the river to the rail, we answer the call.
Hello, A-Team, and welcome back to another episode of the Ante Up Poker Podcast, where every hand is an opportunity, every player is a friend, and every episode is a winning experience. I'm your host, Joe Scales, and A-Team, we did it. For the longest time, Ante Up has been sitting at number 3, sometimes number 4, in this leisure and hobby category of podcasts. We've knocked on the door, we've hovered. I've refreshed the charts probably more times than I should admit, but we just couldn't quite climb over that number 3 spot. But as of today, we're number 1. Number 1. I'm not going to lie. When I looked at that this morning and saw us sitting at the top, that was a moment. I literally sat there and smiled for a little bit because that's not me. That's us. That's the community. Now, even though getting to number 1 is incredible, staying there, that's the new goal. And we can only do that the same way we got here. So keep doing what you've been doing. Keep telling your poker buddies about the show. Keep sharing it in your home games. Keep leaving those comments and ratings. Every review, every download, every share helps us reach more and more of the everyday poker player. I read an article the other day about knowing your place in your business, about understanding exactly who you are and who you serve. We know who we are. We are for the everyday poker player. We are our audience. We're not high roller crushers flying private from stop to stop. We're the ones squeezing in a tournament after work. We're the ones planning the poker trip months in advance. We're the ones grinding 1-3 or 2-5 and loving every minute of it. We're not going to change. We like it here. And honestly, there are a whole lot more of us than there are of the pros out there. That's why this works. We've already had people reach out about meeting up with us in Arizona, and we cannot wait to see each and every one of you at Gila River. And some of you are cruising with us in August, and that's going to be an absolute blast. Poker, glaciers, friends, it doesn't get much better than that. You guys are what makes Ante Up go. You're what built this thing way before I got here. And you're exactly what got us to number 1 in the charts. So, cheers to all of you. Seriously, thank you for taking the time each week to listen, to engage, to share, to be a part of the A-Team community. That's all I've got for now. So, let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the show, you're on the A-Team. Stack your chips and chase the dream. Joe's got the booth, his mic's on fire. Elle's got the laugh, she's taking it higher.
Elle and I are back around the poker table.
And you got a new haircut.
I did. I told you on the way home. I don't know what it is about a haircut, but it just makes you feel better.
It's always it can be a stressful thing for women. But once we find the right girl or
Okay.
guy to
Fair
do
enough.
our hair,
Fair enough.
I look forward to it as well. This is like one of our favorite days. Haircut day.
I wish I could do without the washing of the hair.
You're the only person I've ever met that has ever said that.
But other than that, yeah, I
There are whole salons around just going to get your hair washed for women. So I cannot relate. I cannot relate.
Yeah.
That is like one of my favorite things.
Maybe it's because I'm the only one in my family with hair, so I'm trying to make sure they don't massage it out.
Okay, fair.
But anyway,
boy,
did you? I'm sure you've seen the big talk has been the LAPC.
yeah, this didn't grab my attention because I didn't know the history. Because
That's fair.
I've paid close attention to WSOP and WPT events and MSPT events, and of course our Ante Up tour. There's a lot of different tour stops and events happening.
Right.
There is so much poker to be played across the world.
Yeah,
right now.
that's true.
That I hadn't heard of this tournament as frequently. So, but it is a big deal.
Yeah, the LAPC used to be
the place
outside of the World Series
for a $10,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, pre-COVID, they were getting around 500 players. They had 490 in 2020. Then last year it was only 145. This year, let this sink in for a minute. This year they have 50.
Yeah. So what is that? Is that just they don't want to travel to LA? Is that $10,000 buy-in is not in my bankroll?
Yeah.
So what's the chatter? Because I haven't read all the posts or seen all the articles and.
Well, there's a lot of things factored in here. One being that this used to be a WPT event. It's not anymore.
Oh, it's separated. Okay.
And they don't offer a guarantee now.
Well, that's tricky.
Is huge. But also, it's a $10,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
And I think people are a little more bankroll conscious.
I am.
For lack of a better word.
That's for sure.
I don't
know who isn't right now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for mid-stakes players who would go and take a chance, or for high-stakes players, they're still making sure they're playing pots that they want to play.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that sound silly?
No, it doesn't sound silly. I think you're in the same boat as me. Even if we had the $10,000 to spend on an event, we would rather spread that out to 6 to 8 events. Or
right now, I would. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And I think travel's getting more expensive. You have to factor in eating out, hotel. You don't have to eat out the whole time. I mean, we all know poker players eat on the cheap sometimes, but like really and truly, there's a lot more invested in going and playing poker at a destination than meets the eye.
Sure.
So it's just not a $10,000 trip.
And
it's way more than that.
Yeah, but we've also talked about this with other poker room directors, that this gambling tax law has changed things for a lot of players, right?
Right.
If the fact that you can only claim 90% of your losses now.
I think there's been some revisions in some states and people that are going to bat for this, though.
Yeah, there are people that are going to bat for it. Nothing has been passed. Nothing's come through to help yet.
Right.
But they are working on it. But right now, that's still a factor, right? So
you're going to play lower stakes, take less hits.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, we've talked about this before on here. Just the mid-stakes events are exploding right now.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
The massive guarantees are being hit regularly,
right.
So this doesn't mean poker is shrinking, which I think people love to point to that, that love to say, well, see, poker's dying.
You can't take one example. look at where it is exploding. I mean, the WPT is worldwide now. I mean, they are all over the place. I love following Matt Savage and seeing where he's going to be next. Love hearing about his experiences recently in Asia and where are they now? Oh, this falls on me. I was just watching and the name went right out of my head, but they're everywhere. They're going all over the world. The European, I think there is a WSOP European event that's going to be happening shortly. That was the chatter this morning. If you got to pick, you got a lot more options now.
I just think it's the biggest factor to me, and I may be wrong about this because our world is the everyday poker player.
True.
So,
right.
I feel like there are just so many more people that are bankroll conscious, and so throwing 10,000 at an event like this is only going to be a select few.
Well, let's keep our eye out and see what's happening, because we do have something that's really exciting that I cannot stop talking about. And I'm not going to. I'm not going to stop talking about our Alaskan cruise, August 11 to 21. We are partnering with Ladies International Poker Series, as well as Poker Player Cruises, the brand new poker cruising brand on the scene.
Brand new, but with some familiar faces.
Yeah, very experienced dealers, tournament directors, concierge service. It is going to, they are knocking it out of the park. We're going to be on a Princess boat, the Ruby Princess.
Yeah.
Which is a smaller ship if you look it up. However, the reason we are doing that is because you can go further into the inside passage of Alaska. August is an amazing time to be in Alaska. The more we're researching, the more positives. I made a pros and cons list. It's on my computer.
Yeah.
There are way more pros of going in August. I know it's back to school. I know it's college move-in. I know it could be a crazy time. You are not going to regret going on this 10-day poker vacation.
Yeah, poker vacation. Yeah.
I mean, you're just not.
This is one of those things that so many people have told us. This is on our bucket list.
Yeah.
So now's the time to do it.
Surprise, it could be in 2026, and we would love to have you with us. We also have gotten amazing details about our poker room. It's going to be on deck 6. So if you want to look at all the plans, it's going to be on deck 6 next to the elevators, right next to the casino. Poker Player Cruises is working really hard to like get maybe a buzzer system. So if you're there to sign up for cash, or you bust out of a tournament and you want to play cash, it's going to be...
Or you're waiting for your tournament to start.
Yeah, like we're all used to looking on Poker Atlas and such, that kind of thing. We don't want to expect you to have the Wi-Fi package. So we're going to see if we can't... They are working to see if they can't get some sort of pager system. So pop over, play some blackjack while you wait to play cash. First 100 cabins are supposed to get something special.
Right.
And let me just tell you, we're a third of the way booked. So if you are considering this, reach out to us if you have any questions. Call Poker Player Cruises. Get online and do your research. Not to mention there's flash sales this weekend.
I was going to say, one going on right now.
Yeah. You want a balcony room? There's a massive sale. If you take the flash sale, I'm going to give you one caveat warning. You don't get to pick your room. But if you're getting a balcony room, I don't know that there are bad ones.
Right.
So if you want to take a really gamble on your room, take the flash sale. Thank you so much. Take the flash sale deals, sign up for emails from Princess Cruises. I'm finding out about a new one like every 4 days. They're running something. When you call Poker Player Cruises to book, let them know you are with Ante Up. And then also, if there's a flash sale, be sure, and you want to take a risk on not being able to pick your room, tell them.
Yeah.
I know I sound like a broken record. I'm just trying to get it out there.
Yeah. We're going to have 4 full sea days, which means nonstop poker while we're at sea.
Yeah. And I think there's a welcome party. And I think poker kicks off like 45 minutes after we are moving. We're going to go into the Golden Gate Bridge too.
Okay. That's fair. We're leaving from San Francisco.
Yep.
So, yep. Makes sense.
Yes.
I didn't think about that, but yeah. So Golden Gate Bridge, glaciers, we'll see all the wildlife. I mean,
yeah, the excursions that you can book off of the cruise when we're hitting those certain port dates are going to be really fun. There's going to be a tag team event. There's going to be a ladies event. There's going to be an Ante Up main event. Plan to have fun.
Right.
that is, and meet people.
Yeah.
Meet more poker players.
And
that's huge.
You're going to see a lot of the same faces
that you've probably seen.
That you've seen before, whether it's the staff or players.
Right.
But also new players and new faces, because with this new venture, we're joining with, like you said, LIPS, and we're joining with Poker Player Cruises.
Right.
So it's going to be some new people, but there's going to be a lot of those same faces, and it's all about community.
It is. And I'm excited to get there and go on vacation.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to unwinding. We can't be offline, but
no, but it's going to be.
We still have a podcast to put out. We're doing a podcast from the ship.
That's good. That's going to be. We've put the podcast out in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Never from a cruise ship
or Alaska.
But also, if you want to brush up on some poker before you head out on this cruise.
Yes, this is something that we cannot not mention.
Yeah.
Octopi Poker is doing a training 90 days for $90. I'm signing up today.
I'm going to do some math here. Hold on. That's what, $1 a day?
90 days,
Carry the one.
90 days, $90. Let me just tell you, there was a free, which you can go back and watch this on YouTube, like a YouTube live today.
Yeah.
It was 10 a.m. Pacific. 1 full hour of walking you through what is going to be happening for the entire 12 weeks, how it's going to be scheduled, all of the tools on Octopi Poker that you are going to get to have at your fingertips. There is a new challenge every single day. There's going to be a Discord community, which some people are like, yeah, I've been on Discord, nobody's talking. You have to participate.
Right. Yeah.
You can't just be an observer in a Discord channel.
Yeah.
I am doing this. I'm excited. I'm a little overwhelmed because there's an assignment every single day. However,
if you don't get to one, they give you another day. I mean, it's not like it disappears.
It's self-paced.
Yeah.
And there is a instruction every Friday. And then there is a new challenge or a new lesson that's like assigned or released every day.
Yeah, and there's some prizes that they're giving away for.
Yeah, they're not sure what those are yet, but listen, Octopi Poker delivers. So
Yeah,
I'm not even worried about that. I'm not worried about the prizes. I am excited because the focus of this is not just online player,
Right.
Because that was a big question. It is sharpening your poker game in general. If you're playing poker in person, live, or online, it's still poker. You are still having to adjust or predict your opponent. And so that's what Matt was saying today is it's really increasing your game. And the whole hope is this is tournament focused is so you can walk into the summer season prepared. I'm saying I'm walking onto that cruise prepared.
Yeah.
And excited to possibly participate in some bluffers tournaments that are happening online.
We haven't done that yet, but
yeah, because I'm trying to get to win a seat out to maybe play in a LIPS tournament. We'll see. But long story short, I'm ready to study, and I think this is an easy bite-sized way because I've been overwhelmed.
Yeah. And
where do I go?
I'll say this.
You know?
Yeah, I'll say this. For a lot of us recreational players, right? $100 a month is a lot of money to invest in learning poker.
It can be, yes.
So this is $100
Less than
less than $100 for
3 months.
90 days.
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah.
So it's a different entry point for us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a great structure for novice and intermediate players as well. So I'm excited. I want to see how this looks for sure.
I'm nervous, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm only nervous because I haven't done super study.
Yeah. This will be for sure. This will be your first foray, but I think that it's good that you learned the game, you've gotten comfortable with the game, and now you're ready to take that next step.
Well, because I can feel it.
Yeah.
Even at our home game when we had 2 tables going last week, that was hilarious. And I was a ping pong ball making pizza rolls and herding dogs around and, all that. But I'm learning how to host and not have to feel like I have to do anything. I don't know if you guys ever host a home game and you feel like, oh my gosh, I got to do all this stuff all the time. You know what? Just make it easy on yourself. Like get all that stuff done in advance. I did pretty well until about halfway through, and then everybody's getting hungry. So
yeah.
But anyhow, I digress. I'm at a point where I know there's more I need to know, but I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
And I'm getting frustrated. So it's been a really good challenge for me up until this point, but now what I'm doing is not working.
Right.
And now I'm getting a little bit peeved.
But you are starting to think about the game differently, and this is going to help you grow that part. So I think it's huge. It's going to be huge for you. I think it's good for listeners.
Yeah. Well, and the 12 weeks is laid out where it's not going to be, I think some of these study courses have have been overwhelming to me because it's like they just jump right into ICM. And I'm like, I don't know I need some bites. And it's like the first 2 weeks is going to be getting used to how to use the platform and how to do the challenges and how to get on the chat boards and all that stuff. Like really just basic things, pre-flop, study, that kind of thing. And then it's going to build. So the whole point
By the time you get to week 3, then they're full on.
Yes. So we're not spending a long time walking into the pool, but we're also not getting pushed off in the deep end.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm really interested to see how this works out and keep us posted here on the podcast too, so that people can see. Maybe keep an eye out on the socials. You might be putting some stuff out there as well. But
Yeah.
what else we have? What else?
Shout out to all my ladies getting ready to play in the Arizona Women's Championship. It's happening.
Yeah.
They're on their way. If you go to WPA's socials, there's a lot of good info out there right now for signups, that kind of thing. I think it's at Talking Stick
Okay.
this year. And so I'm going to be paying close attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. To
See if you know any of those names. out
see
there.
what's going on. I think there's some fun stuff going on in Foxwoods this weekend. That's my chatter.
Okay. I'm excited.
That's what I've been hearing from the everyday ladies where they're headed this week.
I'm excited because we're adding something to the studio this weekend.
Oh yeah, and you're going to be hanging a big TV.
I wasn't going to tell them.
Oh.
But cat's out of the bag.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be back here. We're going to be able to have some fun with that, with some different things behind us. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I think you're also looking forward to the fact that all of our grandchildren are coming to make cookies on Saturday. So there's going to be a lot of sweet treats in this house.
I can eat, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
but with all that in mind, as always, it's a pleasure being around the table with you.
Likewise.
Elliot's wisdom cuts like a blade, dropping truth bombs with a poker parade. Big blinds, big stakes, raise it up, let's make no mistakes.
Elliot Schechter joins us each week to say how he would rule on situations that come up in your games, and he's with us again this week. Elliot, how's it going, man?
Well, things are going pretty well. Thanks. Doing nicely. How you doing today?
Good. We got a little taste of the warm weather and then gone, so I'm in hibernation mode again. So
Sorry to
but
hear that.
it gives me more time to catch up on podcasts like this one. So we have a Call the Floor this week sent in by Max Durham. He says, I'm playing a local tournament. Blinds are 1-2 with a 2K big blind dandy. I have about 85K. Stacks says he's got about 85,000 and Villain has him slightly covered. Action folds to me and I open for 5K and it folds to the big blind who tanks for a bit before grabbing a tall stack of 1K chips. About 20 of them, he says. Clearly more than a call. He moves the stack forward toward the middle, starts to lower them. He's about to put them into the pot, but they never touch the felt. He pauses while still holding them in the air and asks me how much I'm playing. I don't say a word. I just lift my hands off the felt so he can see my stack. He studies my chips for a little bit, then pulls the stack of 1K chips back to his own stack and says, okay, I just call. He puts that stack down and throws out 3K more to complete the total to 5,000. The dealer says nothing. Action proceeds, but he has some questions here. So this is more of a rules question. He says, what constitutes a raise? Do chips have to touch the felt? Does crossing the betting line matter, which we've talked about before? Or is forward motion enough? He says, I felt like this was an angle attempt, but wasn't sure of the rules enough, so didn't call the floor. But after the fact, I thought maybe I should have. What do you think? So he's he's got a lot to kind of sort out there. Let's start with what actually does constitute a raise. Like, at what point does all of those, that stack of chips, at what point is that considered he's making a raise?
When they're moved forward and left on the table. Betting lines are not universal. Moving chips out and not touching the felt generally doesn't obligate one to a bet, especially in rooms without a betting line. Even in rooms with a betting line, it's not a hard and fast line in most places. It's generally a
Right.
courtesy line, which makes you put your bets out far enough that people can see them separated from your stack, and they're close enough to the dealer for the dealer to reach them. So very rarely is it a hard and fast action line. It's generally a courtesy line. And going through the TDA rules, this very specific action is not covered, especially heads up. If the chips don't hit the table, generally there's no bet or obligation of a bet.
So playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
On those times when somebody picks up a big stack of chips, they
Mhm.
go out to the middle and they just start cutting out
Right.
chips, and then they pull back however many they have left and they set them
Mhm.
down. There's there's no rule against that. There's no way of keeping them from just keep putting chips out until they get a reaction or something like that.
Well, if you're cutting chips into the pot, especially uh, mm, forward of your stack, you can't take back any of the chips that were cut. You can only take back the chips that were not cut into the pot. So there's only so much reaction you can get. Some people try to elongate this procedure to get a reaction, but again, they're still putting chips in the pot. It's still their turn. The key is if there's an actual pause, and once again, this is much less applicable heads up. This is multi-way when you're trying to get a read on people who haven't yet acted on their hand.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty common to get a read on the guy who's put the bet out. You want to see how they're going to react to a raise or not. And yeah, that happens. Sometimes it's right and sometimes it's not right. But uh, that rule again is not universal. In some rooms, once you move forward with chips, all the chips in your hand have to play. And in some rooms, you move forward with chips and you just get to cut out the amount of the wager. So again, that's not hard and fast. And let's face it, it's very hard to pick up the exact amount of chips you need to put into the pot to constitute a call. If somebody bets, uh, say they bet 12,000, well, it's hard to pick up exactly 12 chips. And if you're taking the time to count out exactly 12 chips, you're wasting time. It's easier to pick up the whole stack, cut out 12, and bring them back. That's fast. It expedites the game. It's fair. Very rarely is a move or angle being played. So again, it doesn't always have to apply that when you move forward with chips, all the chips have to play. There's a lot of cases to be made against that particular rule. And there are plenty of cases to be made in favor of the rule. I mean, again, and it all has to do with reaction, string betting, angle shooting. That is the drawback to having uh, a broad um, set of codified rules. Um, when you define the rules very well and keep adding rules to the rule book, you are very explicitly and more broadly defining the gray area and the places that angles can be shot at. So again, this is certainly in that category. And this is a pretty blatant abuse of one's ability to get a read. I mean, it would have been more reasonable to ask what the betting player had behind before any chips were moved forward. That's much more reasonable, and I would hope that whoever was running the tournament and noticed would have said something to the player away from the table. Again, that's not adding anything to the game and doesn't really need to occur on a regular basis.
Right. And that's to the point here that he makes at the end. He didn't call the floor, but after the fact thought maybe he should have. I don't know that, and you jump in here too, but I don't know that he needed to necessarily call the floor for that, but at least, you know, ask for a clarification of that rule. Like if you're not clear what constitutes betting, there's no harm, especially, after the hand's over, you can say, so just so I'm clear, just so I'm
Right.
understanding, what constitutes a bet in that situation?
Mhm.
Is it going across the line? Is it dropping the chips? Whatever. There's no harm in asking a question after the fact either.
Darn right. Yeah, you feel free to go up to the floor and ask. It's definitely good to have the clarification and to make sure that if what happened shouldn't have happened or should have been policed a little better, then yeah, the tournament directors need to know about it. If it's a pretty laissez-faire room, and generally that's pretty common too, especially in Las Vegas, the floor is going to say, "Hey, his chips didn't hit the pot. It's still his turn to act. He's acting." So yeah, but you still would like to get clarity in the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Please, I mean, that's absolutely part of our job as tournament directors and operators is to have these conversations, let people be heard, and give the right advice and consultation.
I feel like if you think something is an angle, the way you combat somebody angle shooting is to know the rules so that you
Yes.
don't react to them in any
Mhm.
way. If you know that he doesn't make a bet until he lays those chips down, then you're not going to give him any information.
Exactly.
So the more you know,
Yeah.
wasn't that NBC or something?
Uh-huh. Yes, it is. I can't remember the actual jingle, but yes, that is exactly it. Uh, and again, it's good to know whether the betting line is an actual hard, fast line or whether it's merely uh, a courtesy line. It's good to know those things. And it's never printed on the felt, and it's almost never in the actual printed rules on a tournament format sheet. So those are good things to ask. Those are good things to check with, even if you're just asking the dealer before the cards get in the air. Forward motion, again, is more of a multi-way thing because generally it applies when player A bets, player B is moving forward with chips but hasn't done anything, and player C is calling.
Right.
So his forward motion, especially in a limit game, is going to be counted. And in no limit may not be counted at all because let's face it, in no limit, it's especially important that somebody's hand doesn't, somebody's turn in the betting does not end until they have completed their bet because obviously they can bet any amount. In limit,
Right.
that doesn't matter. They can only bet one amount or a raise to two bets or three bets. So again, forward motion is definitely not going to be identical across the various games. But how does forward motion get enforced? So yeah, those are good things to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it sounds like in this case there probably was no rule broken per se. It may have been an angle that they were trying to shoot here, but knowing the rules helps you combat that. And so, yeah, you should probably talk to the floor, even if it's after the fact, and get a clarification. And that also allows them to keep an eye on the player and say, oh, well, he's pushing that limit. Maybe I need to
Right.
have a little conversation with him.
Absolutely.
But Yeah, Max, that's a good point. I appreciate you sending that in because it's always good to get. I don't know how many times we can reiterate that it would be enough. There's not enough times that we can say, if you have a question, ask the
Right.
question, get clarification, make sure you understand the rules.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean stop the action and call the floor every time that
No.
you think you were wronged, but at least whether it be after the hand or whatever, ask the questions, get clarification, and uh, know what should and shouldn't be going on.
Absolutely.
That's a good one, Max. I appreciate you sending it in. If anyone has a call the floor that they would like to know how Elliot would roll, send it to podcast@anteupmagazine.com. And Elliot, thanks again.
You're welcome.
We'll see you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Patrick's a fish, but he's learning fast. He's all in this hand, might be his last.
Welcome to Hand of the Week. We're Patrick, our resident fish, and I dive into listener-submitted hands. Each week, we tackle everything from questionable bluffs to hero calls and the hands that make you scratch your head. Whether you're looking for strategy tips or you just want to see if you would have played it any better, we've got you covered. Patrick, how's it going, man?
Quick nod. This is absolutely a poker podcast, so we don't talk about other sports on here at all. Cheers to the U.S. men's and women's hockey teams
Absolutely,
taking
yes.
down
Congrats.
our friends, foes, whatever you want to call them, from the Great White North. Listen, you guys had one sport and one sport only, and you invented hockey, and we appreciate you inventing it, and now we own you. So, cheers.
We own you. Yeah, it was a cool moment to see them bring out the
Johnny
the
Gaudreau.
jersey, yeah, and paying homage to him. But yeah, that very cool. Congratulations to USA team, both men and women's, and yeah, let's jump into
Yeah, it was
some
awesome.
poker.
It's a great weekend. Yeah, absolutely. What do we got? Who do we got first?
This one's sent in by Connor Peck.
Okay.
And Connor is playing 2-5, no limit hold'em. He says, I had been playing PLO only the last few months, but the game was full, so I joined the hold'em table. He says, I may have been a little rusty, and the table was pure tourist chaos. With 4 drunk guys on a bachelor party, 1 nit, and a younger player in the cutoff who's been 3-betting any 2 cards all night. Hey, I think you've been playing against one of those recently. We just talked about this.
Yeah, sure did get one of those, and it wasn't a 3-bet. It was just, whoa. And they were calculated. I'll give him that, but it was whatever came out of his fingers as he's over there shuffling chips. So if you're listening, you know who you are. You sat at the table the other night for 4 minutes and said, "Hey, I need to buy back in." So
Yeah, I think in this case he probably just saw an opportunity with the drunk players and the nit at the table, and so I don't blame him a bit.
Yeah.
Connor says he's already shown down King 5 suited as a 3-bet bluff and 7 deuce as a bluff raise.
Saw a couple of those.
The table is laughing every time he tanks because they know what's coming. He says, I have about $720 in this hand and am in the middle position when it folds to me with the ace of diamonds, queen of clubs.
All right. Remind me, did he
We
say where
know-
that 3-better is?
He said he was in the cutoff. So
Kind of.
that's exactly. I was like, I'm targeting that young kid in the
Yeah,
cutoff.
that's where I'm
so-
going, right? I mean, I'm going to sit there and be jolly with the drunken idiots, but Well, that's a good question, Joe, and I'm gonna actually let you. Normally, you let me go first on this one. I've written down what I'm gonna bet, so I won't change. But
So you've already written it down. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
So
Um,
the question on the table to you is: do you target him in the sense of coming over the top? Do you check into him? I mean, you've already said you're gonna target him.
well, we can't check. We got to
Well, I know
limp.
that.
It's folded to us.
Correct. Are you targeting him? Or are we going back at him? Or are we just
So we've got it. We've got a really great hand, and I'm gonna try and get him to 3-bet me. So I'm gonna open small, then hope that he raises.
small, like
So
15?
15 is exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, I'm going 15. Nice. So yeah, I'm going 15, looking for him to raise. Now the question that I pose to you: if he does come over the top, do you want to call or do you want to 4-bet?
That's a very good question. And I would say I personally would probably call, whether it's right or wrong, but I would probably call it.
I'm making this move with the intention of 4-betting if he 3-bets. So
Okay.
let's see what Connor does. Connor opens for $20,
Okay.
and only the cutoff calls. So he didn't come over the top. He just called.
Mm,
And he
okay.
says he has about $680 in his stack before making the call. So the pot is $47, and the flop is the ace of spades, 8 of hearts, 5 of diamonds. Connor says, dry as the Sahara.
All right.
What do you
Top
think?
pair. Good kicker. Pushy action. 30.
Okay.
Maybe actually a little less, because if this guy is notorious for that, let's go a little bit less and invite it.
That's what I was thinking.
20.
That's exactly where I was thinking.
See,
The
listen,
fact that
this is what I was getting at earlier, Joe. When I'm sitting here, I can think through it. But when I'm sitting at the tables, man, I just get going.
all the
Anyway,
thinking goes out the window.
yeah, it's well that or it's just too much thinking. One of the two. All right. So we're on the same page.
Yeah,
20. I like
the
that.
fact that he just called, makes me think he has some fun hands that he wanted to get into the mix with. He didn't want us to fold. So makes me think of suited connectors, suited Broadway cards, maybe some medium pairs in there. So if we check here, then I feel like that's saying, oh, we're super strong, and we get
Yeah.
the check back, because this is a typical C-bet situation. So if we don't do that, then it just sends alarm bells off, I feel like.
Right.
So bet the $20 and hope that they come along or raise. Connor went with your first number. He bets 30. And our villain just calls.
Which
So
it is fine too. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the fact that he called is good, because I still feel like we're ahead. The pot is $107. The turn is the 2 of spades. So the board is ace of spades, 8 of hearts, 5 of diamonds, 2 of spades. It's a second spade, and 3-4 makes a straight now.
see, there's a great point right there. All I saw was 3-4. Didn't even dawn on me about the spades. I gotta use this big old brain of mine. Okay. That being said, I mean, I feel like playing Connor's hand, I feel like you lean into him again. 107. I'm going less than half pot. I mean, I'm still pretty confident. So I'm probably going. I mean, playing Connor's hand, he bet 30. So I would say probably 45, maybe right at 50 if you wanted to.
Well, I'm thinking I definitely still want to put money in here. But now that so much more has opened up, then I want to start making it hard, making a decision hard for them and making them make a mistake by just calling.
Gotcha.
So I definitely think it would be a mistake to like check for pot control or something like that. But I'm probably going a little bit bigger now, like 65.
Okay.
Because another point to that, if we check here and he bets big, right, then we're in a guessing game. But if we bet and they raise, it's a whole lot easier to interpret.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Checking here, and you know, if you catch another check, then so be it. I mean, I guess that maybe kind of leans into your pot control. But if you check here and you catch a 65, 75 pot bet, then you're literally just going, okay, well, you could have anything, at
Yeah, exactly.
7 deuce unsuited. This definitely tells you a lot more. You consistently continue to tell the story. You push the limits a little bit, and you push him to the edge. So yeah. I like
And
that.
Connor goes even bigger than I
80.
did. He bet 70.
Okay.
In parentheses, he puts continued value. Villain raises to 200. Connor says, tough spot right here. Top pair, top kicker on a dry board versus it's not so dry anymore, but versus
No.
a guy who loves to raise light. Sets, 2 pair, straight draws, pure air that he thinks could get us a fold. All of those make sense to me. What do you want to do with that?
That's a really good question. There's a lot more on here. I mean, don't get me wrong. A straight could have gotten there, but I don't think I'm coming back over the top, even though I know you are.
I'm not actually.
Oh,
Believe it or
really?
not.
Okay. Well,
No.
I'm just calling.
I was just kind of formulating what I was going to say here, and I think I think coming over the top is bad because then we just fold out bluffs. We get called or shoved on with sets or better,
Yep.
and then we're kicking ourselves for overplaying top pair.
Yeah.
So I think raising is off the table for sure. It's fold or it's call.
Yeah. I think I'm comfortable enough to call against that kind of player, knowing that, yeah, I mean, he could be sitting on 3-4. I think if another spade comes out, and depending on how things play out, I don't mind folding that one. If any combination of 3, 4, 6, anything around those numbers, we'll see. I'm calling though.
Well, the other side to what you're saying is if we call here, then the pot's going to be over $500.
Yep.
And neither one of us are going to have 500 in our stack.
No.
So it sets up a river shove, which basically means if we call here, we're playing for stacks.
So you're thinking now, are you changing your thought process? Are you telling me that I should make sure I think about this?
I'm just throwing out the possibilities here. Aggressive players, especially ones that show bluffs, are typically doing so in order to get paid when they have it. Right?
Yeah.
With that 2 of spades, that didn't change anything really. I don't see them having 3-4.
I really am not
think,
either.
I think if we fold here, what are we continuing with if we're folding here? Right? Ace king only. That's too exploitable.
8, maybe.
Connor tanks and calls.
Okay.
Pot now is $507. Connor says, I have about $450 left. Villain has about $410 left. And the river is the Jack of Hearts. So the board is Ace of Spades, 8 of Hearts, 5 of Diamonds, 2 of Spades, Jack of Hearts.
Well then.
Well then.
I mean, top pair, close to top kicker. Spades aren't there, hearts aren't there. The guy's not holding 3-4. Maybe he's got pocket eights. Maybe. I feel like before this came that he could have been holding Ace Jack. Queen Jack maybe.
So you think he
my
might have
humble,
got there on the river?
I'm thinking the only two things that beat us realistically are Ace Jack or eights. And I don't know that he has either one. But I might check here with I'm just gonna call. And if I lose a little bit of
Yeah,
value, then I'll lose a
I'm
little
not
bit of
going to be
value.
the one to put the money in here first, because if
Yeah.
if we bet now and he's bluffing, then we kind of let him off the hook, right? Because then he can fold.
Yeah.
If we check and he's bluffing, then he may shove. And if he jams,
Then we got a
I
decision to
probably
make here in a
still
second.
call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Um,
gonna feel great about it, but I'm still gonna probably do it. I
Yeah.
check.
Yeah. So check. Connor also checks. Villain bets $350 into 507, leaving himself $60 about behind if he's called. Connor says, another tough spot. Do you hero call top pair, top kicker against the session's biggest overbetter?
Why does he keep saying top kicker?
You're right. It's not the top kicker. It's a
Look,
good
and
kicker. But
Connor,
not.
let me tell you, I'm not calling you out because I get called out every single week. Joe and I have a laundry list of complaints about how Patrick uses terminology wrong. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything, so I'm not calling you
No,
out.
you're not.
I'm calling. Again, I don't think he's got. I mean, if Ace Jack gets there, I got to see it.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you make of the $60 left behind?
A lot, actually.
Okay, say more.
He's trying to, in my humble opinion, push us off of this. And if we decide to go ahead and call, because he's got, king, queen, and never hit anything of spades, or I don't think he thinks he has the nuts by any means, and I think he wants some leftovers.
So you think he's doing it for protection of himself, like so he's
Correct.
not all in.
Correct.
Okay. In a lot of spots, I think this usually means that it's a bet for value, because if someone is bluffing, then they tend to go all in or just give up. Like,
Yeah, but that's a big value bet if you're just leaving yourself 60 out of 410, right? If it's a value, wouldn't it be lower?
well, if his goal, if he's bluffing and his goal is to get us off of the hand, then he's gonna want to put all of his chips to use to make that happen.
Fair.
And $60 isn't necessarily gonna help him later. Like, I in a lot of cases, it's more, that shows that it's more for value than for a bluff. However, that's the only part of this equation that gives me hesitation. We were all expecting this dude to raise, right?
Yeah.
And when spades turn into an actual draw and then a straight draw gets there, even though it's not a good one, it's all that he needed to try to steal the hand. Is that what he was doing here? I don't know. It's a close one, but
Yeah.
I'm leaning call. I do want to do something with you though, Patrick. Let's
Okay.
get you to look at this from a math standpoint.
Hold on. Let me break out my Excel spreadsheet.
No calculator, because I want you to do this just like you're going to be at the table.
All right.
And we're not going to go
Here's
through
my
all
hands.
of the
I'm not
whole
doing it.
math reasoning part of it, but
Okay.
we can do that off of the air if you want to do that.
Fair.
But what percentage of the pot is the $350 into 507?
75 ish.
If you to make it
72.
easy, but yeah, I mean, you're close. If you take the 300 into 500, right? If you just round them,
Yeah.
then it's around 60%. 400 into 500 is about 80%, so it's about 70, just
Yeah.
because it's in that middle, right? This is where some of the memorization part of it will help you as well. So write these down and bring them into every hand of the week until you know them by heart. Quarter pot. If somebody bets a quarter pot, you have about 16% equity, or you need about 16% equity.
Okay.
Third pot, you need about 20% equity. Half pot, it's about 25. 2/3 pot's about 29%. 3/4 pot's about 30%. Pot size is about 33%. And what else do we have? If somebody overbets the pot, like 2 times the pot, then you need about 40%. And what we have here is what? About a 2/3 size pot bet, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then it's like 29%. So we have to be right about 30% of the time for the call to be profitable. Does that change your mind at all in this particular case?
Actually, a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, when you put it like that, yeah, I think it does a little bit. Yeah, I think it does a little bit. But again, I think, and you can, I don't make them on 3-4. I really don't think it's an ace jack, but it's definitely within the realm. Eights are there. I really think it was, I like I said, a king queen, even a king jack, king 10 of spades. They kept it going. They missed, and I think I'm still
So
making this call.
yeah, what you have to look at is this person bluffing 30% of the time? And it sounds like he's capable of doing that, right?
It does.
So in this case, I probably make the call, but also know that against a 2-5 player, I find a fold here most of the time because turn raises and the river follow through are way under bluffed at this level. So normally I'm probably folding, but in this particular case, I'm probably calling.
Okay.
Connor ends up making the call as well. And the villain, in quotes, sheepishly tables the 7 of spades, 6 of spades, open ender on the flop, right?
Yep. Yep.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
Flush draw on the turn, and the river breaks both. He says the table erupts, and the bachelor party loses their minds.
I bet they did. What a call.
The young player ends up tilting and spews off 2 buy-ins by the end of the night.
Ouch.
Live by the bluff, die by the bluff.
Oh, absolutely.
Connor doesn't ask any specific questions in this one, but I think it's a great hand. This hand is a great reminder that poker isn't usually about whether you're right or wrong. It's about whether your decision making makes money long term. And if this guy is bluffing here 30% of the time, you have to call. If he's bluffing 10% of the time, you have to fold.
Yeah.
The key is knowing your player pool, and you have to be honest about it, because just because somebody showed down a bluff one time does not mean that they're bluffing all the time.
Right.
And so you can't convince yourself of that, but you also can't convince yourself that they're never bluffing. So know your player pool. I think that's the final piece of advice for this hand. Any closing thoughts there, Patrick?
Nope. I think Connor, you played this one great. I think it's a great pot. It was a great call. I like the thinking through this. Myself and the rest of the novices have some homework to do on pot equity.
Yeah, memorize that chart.
Okay.
It
We can
helps
do
a
that.
lot for sure. And if anyone has a hand of the week that they would like to know how Patrick and I would play it, send it to podcast@anteupmagazine.com. Patrick, we'll catch you next week.
Sounds like a plan. We'll see you then, bud.
From the flop to the turn, we play it bold, chasing hearts and diamonds, never fold. In the booth, we're dealing stories that gleam. Poker legends rise on the 18.
Did you ever notice how bad poker players are at living in the moment? We're either replaying the last hand or stressing about the next one. We're wired for results. We bust a tournament and spend the drive home redealing the same hand in our head. Or we bag chips and immediately jump to, so what's our plan for tomorrow? Very rarely do we just sit in the hand we're actually in. And it's funny because that's literally what poker demands from us. Play the hand you're in. Right now, we've got some big things coming up. Gila River Lone Butte. It'll be our first time in Arizona. A new poker room, new scenery. Then it's Alaska with glaciers and wildlife. Poker on the open seas. It's easy to fast forward. What's the turnout going to be like? How will I run? Will it be worth it? Or even to drift backward and focus on the past results. But the only thing that exists today, the packing, the planning, the excitement, the conversations, the preparation, that's the moment. Think about the first time you sat at a final table. Before the cards were even dealt, there's the electricity. The lights feel brighter. The chips sound louder. Your heart rate ticks up just a little bit. That moment, before anything is decided, is alive. And too often, we waste it by jumping ahead to the payout sheet in our minds. What if I bust first, instead of just thinking, this is pretty cool. Living in the moment isn't soft. It's not passive. It's discipline. It's the ability to say, I don't control the river card, and I don't control the payout jumps, and I don't control variance, but I do control this decision, this breath, this hand. Poker punishes you when you're not present. And if you're still mad about the last pot, you misplay the next one. If you're obsessing over the trophy, you skip all the small edges right in front of you. Life's the same way. We miss the first time in Arizona because we're worried about how the event will end. We miss the beauty of Alaska because we're thinking about the social media posts. We miss the joy of sitting at the table because we're calculating what it means instead of feeling what it is. But what if we flipped that? What if the goal wasn't to rush to the result, but to fully experience the moment? There are only a handful of big moments in life. The wins, the trophies, the headlines. But there are thousands of small ones. The shuffle of chips, the first step into a new poker room, the sound of laughter at the table, the quiet confidence that we can have before the cards are in the air. Those are the in-between hands, and they do matter. You don't have to ignore the future. You don't have to pretend outcomes don't matter. But you can choose to be present while they're still undecided. Enjoy the first time. Enjoy the buildup. Enjoy the unknown. Because once the river card hits, that moment's gone. So as we head toward Arizona, as we count down to Alaska, as you think about your next tournament, your next shot, your next big swing, don't live in the last hand. Don't live in the final payout. Play the hand you're in, and don't rush through the in-between hands. That's today's one-outer. That's today's show. I'll see you next week, A-Team. And until then, I'll see you at the tables.
The Ante Up Podcast is a production of AnteUpMagazine.com. Contact the show at podcasts@AnteUpMagazine.com or call the show at 540-339-7741. If you'd like to advertise, send an email to editor@AnteUpMagazine.com.